Hi. So Matt already said about our company, Blackmail. So we work with technology organizations and help them to work better and perform better. We offer training, coaching, and consulting. But these workshops, we're going to have some questions for you. So we're going to try and be a bit more interactive in the sessions and see how we go. Maybe it will work, maybe it doesn't. We'll see.
Way to back yourself.
Yeah, we'll see. The first question that we have for you is, do you practice delegation? Raise your hand if you do.
Not the code delegation.
Cool.
The people delegation. That's less hands. That was genuinely less hands.
Yeah. Who here finds it? Oh, sorry.
That's me.
Yes.
Do you find it easy? Who feels confident in their delegation of work to other people?
We have two.
One confident hand and one half a hand.
Well, two.
All right. Okay, that's cool. We're going to work on that.
Okay. Who finds it difficult?
This has to be the rest of you, right? Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so the question is why? Why is delegation hard? Reliability? Okay, reliability, as in getting reliable results out of people when you give them a piece of work? All right.
Okay. So
Okay.
we're going to talk about how to make that better.
Power dynamic. Yeah.
In what way?
You shouldn't be controlling people.
So what should
But
you
you're
do?
Katrina Owen. Trust. Yeah, that's another good one, right? Do they trust you? Do you trust them? Does your boss trust you with this thing? Your boss just trusted you with this thing and now you have to trust it to somebody else? Anyone else? Expectation. Okay, cool. Yeah. It's okay, we'll let you go for now. We'll come back to you. It's okay. So, let's meet Jack. Jack has some of these concerns, right? So, Jack was a senior developer, and before becoming an engineering manager, he was a standout individual contributor. Now that he's transitioned to the new role, he still identifies strongly with being a strong individual performer, and he loves getting hands-on with the work. He has extremely high expectations of himself and the quality of the work that has to be done, right? He has a lot of passion for details, and he often gets sucked into project work. Anyone recognizing any of this? All right. He usually ends up working extra hours to keep up with his managerial responsibilities, and so he is always tired. Guess what? Jack's team is growing fast. They've just hired 3 new people. Hiring's still happening. There's more people coming on. His project's going really well. Good job, Jack, right? However, there is not a lot of documentation in the code base. I'm looking at Benji because he was telling me about this yesterday for his own team. We'd already written this. And there's no information about how to set up the local dev environment. In fact, there's basically no onboarding documentation whatsoever, right? I can get the slides to rotate to the next thing with the... There we go. No, we went too far. So the team has been wrestling with their lack of an onboarding process for a few months. Every time the team onboarded a new person, it took a huge time investment to get them on board, get them productive, get them using the code base appropriately. So, and then there was all the regular work that those people were supposed to be doing, that the team's supposed to be focused on. There are 3 new people joining in 2 weeks. There's a big launch coming up, and Jack cannot have half the team helping to onboard the new people. Meanwhile, he's busy with performance reviews, which are due next week. He's been trying to become more efficient personally, but he has so many projects and tasks that he is not keeping up, and he is starting to drop the ball on some of his responsibilities. Shall we stop there?
Yeah, let's talk a bit about delegation. So delegation is a key management practice where a person, typically a leader or manager, assigns tasks and projects to another individual on the team, generally. So delegation is designating responsibility to someone else. It's trusting someone else to make decision on your behalf. It is lending authority or agency to make decisions. It is lending responsibility and agency for a bucket of decisions that somebody else makes. It is also an essential time management and team development strategy. We cannot do everything ourselves, so we should decide what we must do ourselves and what we can delegate to other people to do instead. And lastly, the hardest part about delegation is that it involves entrusting our authority to others by assigning a task that we are responsible for. But all the while, we remain accountable for the outcome. So we need to take care in how we delegate work to others.
Okay, so let's go back to Jack. He has painted himself into a corner. Yeah? He does not have enough hours in the day to be doing all the things he's supposed to be doing. And we've got a few examples of some of the things he might be thinking right now.
So if you ever thought that, please raise a finger for everything that you ever thought when you were thinking about delegating.
We're going to see how many full hands we can get going on here. All right?
So the first one is, I feel bad about giving them more work. One hand. Cool. One finger.
I don't have the time to teach others what is needed to get the work done. It's just quicker if I do it myself.
I don't know if I can trust other people to do the work with the quality that I know that I can deliver.
They will resent me asking them to do it.
Yeah. I'll do the best job here, so I'll just do it myself.
It is a boring job, so I will lead by example and I'll do it myself.
I know I should focus on planning and strategy, but I care about the details.
I do not know how to let go.
Cool.
Okay, we got some people out there with 7. Are there really 7 things? Okay, 7 out of 7. Good job, Grant.
Cool.
And Katrina and various others.
Cool. Anybody that have more than 4 fingers up, DM us. We're going to raffle a ticket to our leading engineering team workshop. So DM us if you're interested in that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So whatever the reasons that Jack has in his head, not delegating work can have worse consequences. All right? He needs to fix this. So Jack always ends up prioritizing the wrong tasks and overloading his schedule. He seems rushed and anxious. He's reactive. He keeps putting out fires. And if he doesn't fix this, he's going to be burnt out. So the other thing is the impact on the team. Like, by not delegating the work to the team, they have missed out on valuable growth opportunities, learning opportunities. He doesn't want to risk a failure, so he's keeping like a close eye on the team. He's like checking in with them a lot. He's micromanaging, right? Sometimes it just feels easier for him to just step in and correct the problems himself.
Now, before leaders can successfully and effectively delegate, they need to understand their own resistance. Like, why do they have a problem with delegation? Perhaps they're reluctant to give up control, or they don't want to look like they're slacking and not doing any work. They also need to shift their minds on how they think about their role and responsibilities. They also need to shift how they think about those things. Being the only person that can do X might give you a sense of purpose in your work, and that's fantastic, but you will also become a blocker on development on the project. As a manager and a leader, we are no longer responsible for delivering the work directly. Instead, we're responsible for the people who deliver the work. Being responsible for the people also means helping them grow and develop professionally, which we can do by delegating work to them. Delegating doesn't come naturally to most of us. Often we think it is just easier and safer to do everything ourselves. But this approach can lead to more stress and less time to spend on our highest priorities, which are our team, and our team still remains undeveloped or underdeveloped. So why is delegation so important?
This is one of those ones where we're asking you a question again. Who wants to shout something at me? Sorry, Benji. Efficiency, productivity.
Builds up the team, yeah. We are growing the team.
Sorry? Parallel executing, yeah. That's why we have teams, because more people can do more stuff than one people. Team growth? Yeah, team growth.
Yeah,
Knowledge sharing.
Redundancy, yeah.
Yeah, like not being the blocker because you're the only person on the team who knows how to twiddle the widget.
Or do billing.
Or do billing. Any others? Michael.
Going a bit out there, but it's also self-growth, right? By delegating, you growing yourself to be able to.
Yeah, this is this thing that everyone here, almost, there's like 1.5 hands who said they were good at this, or said they felt comfortable doing it. So for all the rest of us, this is self-growth. This is learning new skills. This is practicing the dark art of leadership. Yeah?
According to a Gallup study, CEOs that excel in delegating generate 33% higher revenue. They also know that they can't accomplish everything alone and position their team to tackle tasks they are confident they'll achieve. So in turn, they are empowering the employees, they boost in morale, and they increase productivity. What happens there, they free up their time to focus on activities that they will yield higher returns and grow the company better. So for the leader, the advantages of delegation is it reduces the risk of burnout for you. It frees up your time to be more proactive and focus on strategy rather than tactics and being reactive. And it provides one-on-one coaching that will deepen your relationship and trust with the people on the team that you lead, and easing productivity by transferring work from a higher cost center, which your time costs more, to a lower cost center, which is their time doing the actual work. For the team, it increases motivation, engagement, and productivity. You are growing the team's skill set by allowing team members to tackle next level responsibilities that align with their interests and talents so they can be promoted later to a new role. And then it makes the team more resilient and capable, redundancies, like Redo said. And lastly, for the organization, you get business growth and expansion at less costs. You increase productivity by transferring work. I already said that. From a high cost center to a low cost center. I'm repeating myself. So when we delegate to others, we accept that they cannot do everything and relinquish control. So we have time to focus on activities that are more beneficial for the business.
Or those of us who do it all ourselves, we get lost in the day-to-day activities, right? And we don't have time for anything else.
When we delegate to others, we take the time to understand what our team members are interested in and what they're good at and what they care about, and then we give them the task that they will excel at. So we help motivate them better.
Those who do it all themselves tend not to understand their team and not to be able to keep them motivated.
And lastly, we focus on the outcomes and process. So we set clear expectations of what we want the work to look like.
And if you're used to doing it all yourself, then you end up micromanaging because you're too busy checking in on all of the details and following up, and you fail to set those clear expectations for other people to do the work for you.
Yeah, so we've talked quite a bit about delegations. I want to repeat a few of the themes that repeat here a lot. And one of them is about trust and control. So sometimes we don't trust our standards will be met. And this can happen to the best individual contributors when they become managers. They were the best at their work and the task before they got promoted. And they know that they can do a better job than their team. But if they don't trust the team and they don't release control, they will find it very hard to retain people. The second theme that comes up is autonomy versus micromanagement. Having control over our work leads to higher motivation, Giving people the space to operate within agreed constraints is better than constantly checking up on them or making the decisions for them. And delegation does not mean abdication of responsibility. So as leader, we should be involved as much as necessary to help our team members with their projects and initiatives to succeed. Being a leader means that knowing when to dive in yourself and when to step back and entrust others. And we can talk about how to do this later. The balance between micromanagement and abdication of responsibility is possible by providing context and autonomy, by defining what the goals are, the constraints are, the scope of the work, the risks, the assumptions, what is expected and by when, and what success looks like. But the most important thing is the idea of delegation is to make yourself obsolete. So you don't have any work that you need to do, so you can be promoted to a new role because your team can do your role now.
Okay, so how do we do this magical piece of human technology? We've got a script. It's not a Ruby script, but it'll do. So I would like your help with this task, right? And then you tell them why you're picking them, right? So Jill might be an analytics genius, or Bob is like really knowledgeable about the customer. Or, you know, like it happens, like Joan's current work is not as important as this new piece of work, right? You can tell somebody that, it's okay. We're still going to get to Joan's other work later, it's fine. So, and then you ask for commitment, right? You say, can you please take responsibility for this project as I've described it? They might say no, right? If you have a good trusting relationship, hopefully they will say no if they have concerns. They'll be like, oh, yeah, I don't know if I can do that. I have this other stuff I have to do. And then you get to have a conversation about what that other stuff is, what its priority is, how it compares to this new task. And you can have that conversation and come to a mutual understanding about who's doing that. And, you know, maybe you do need to find somebody else. Or maybe you've adjusted their expectations and their alignment and now they're cool to do the work, right? And then you finish up with defining a deadline, the expected quality. Is this a technical spike? Is this a draft of a document? Is this the final thing? Do you need them to seek feedback? All of that. And then what does reporting look like? What is the follow-up? How am I checking in to make sure that they're doing okay and they don't need any help? Yeah. You should not delegate work when you don't have time to give them all of that, right? If you can't have that conversation, you're not delegating this work because you are setting them up for failure. So you have to have the time. The other thing is, when the people don't have the required skills or experience or whatever, and you do not have time to train them, again, you can't give them this piece of work. It will not go well for them and therefore for you. And lastly, you know, when the task contains sensitive or confidential information, right? Our example guy, Jack cannot delegate the performance reviews next week, right? I'm sorry, you cannot delegate your performance reviews.
So let's talk about what you can delegate to people. So the first thing that we want to suggest is when you're comfortable with a task, it's time to delegate it to somebody else. First thing. The next one is when somebody can do the work better than you, or you think that this could be a teachable moment for them, then you should delegate as well. And I want to talk about a few matrices as suggestions. The first one is impact versus effort. And the first quadrant here that I want to mention is the high impact and low effort. So this is low-hanging fruits. This is quick wins that you can just do and get them done with so you can do them yourself. That's fine. If it's high impact by high effort, then you should consider delegating to somebody because it will take a lot of time. That can be somebody else's job. And then if it's low effort and low impact, it's probably a distraction. So either delegate or delete. And then low impact, high effort and low impact, then this is a time waster. You should totally think about deleting this one. And we have a similar example in our urgent versus important. If it's important and it's urgent, you should do it now, not wait. If it's important but not urgent, schedule that for some other time in the future. So I had a coaching client this week, and they need to create budgets for the team, but they also have a different priority that needs to be done first. This is cool. Budgets can wait. They can wait until the end of the quarter. So schedule them for later. Then you have urgent but not important. This is a great one to delegate. Whereas not important and not urgent, like, why are you doing this to begin with? Might as well just delete that. And the last matrix that I want to talk about is reversible actions versus consequentials. So again, if it's irreversible and it's consequential, you should do it yourself. Everything else can be delegated. If it's irreversible but it's not consequential, then use that to teach people how to do the work. If it is reversible and consequential, think about maybe experimenting with the work, and then not consequentials and reversible, just delegate out.
Okay, so let's go back to Jack. He still needs to onboard these new team members, right? And he hasn't done anything about it because he's working on performance reviews. So he has finally decided to delegate that to Jill. And it needs to be done before the new two members start in 2 weeks. So using our little script, instead of tracking every detail, he works with Jill to decide what should be accomplished. And he helps Jill understand what needs to be escalated to him in this work. And they have regular check-ins to discuss anything that arises. So by providing support to Jill, she knows Jack has her back and can feel more confident in her abilities to lead this project.
Shall we try?
You want to try that now?
Yes.
It's almost as if we'd planned that.
Yes.
Okay. I'm Jack, right? All right, cool. Hi, Jill. I'd like your help on something. We need to work on onboarding. We've got the 3 new developers showing up in 2 weeks. You know that our onboarding process has been really difficult. In fact, that's why I'm coming to you with this. You were such a huge part of onboarding the last couple of people who joined our team, so you kind of know the stuff they need to know, and you know where people have been having trouble. So I think you really have the knowledge to really nail this project for us. Will you take responsibility for developing an onboarding process for our team?
Well, we have a launch coming up in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
and
I know.
I really have a couple of tasks that I need to finish before the launch. So I don't really have time to write documentations for onboarding at the moment.
Okay, I can see that. And your work is absolutely important. But given that you're the one with all of the experience with the onboarding process, I really feel like we might be able to work something out so that you can focus on that, and we can have a conversation about what we do about your other priorities after this. Does that work for you?
Sure.
Cool. Okay. So let's make an agreement on deadline. Well, obviously, they start in 2 weeks, so we're going to need it by then. So maybe we can talk about it on the Friday morning beforehand. That can be the final draft, and any tweaks we want to do together.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool. We should check in regularly between now and then in case you have any issues. We'll plan some sort of schedule for that. And what else do you need for me to make sure this works?
Well, I need you to talk to the product manager and clear all my tasks for this current sprint because I can't do both.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I can do that for you. Let's sort that out.
So you need to find a path to being okay with being accountable without being in control. Because it's really about learning how to lead without being in control of the work that other people are doing. Inability to find that path might have to do with anxiety or past experiences or bad leadership that you experienced before. Whatever the reason is, we should work to be comfortable with the idea that as leaders, we are accountable for something that we have no direct control over. So if you want high-performance team, that is, we need to learn how to delegate. And the last thing that we want to leave you here today is a quote by John Maxwell that says, if you want to do a few small things right, do them yourselves. If you want to do great things and make big impact, learn to delegate. That's us.
Thank you.